Hey, everybody, this is Mac with Veterans Achieve Business Systems. Um, Thanks for joining us today. We have a guest, Wendy Saw, that lives out of Toronto, and she and I had some commonality because she's a photographer, and her first camera was from the company that I worked for. I don't meet a lot of people that know Mamiya because it's more of a professional camera system. Uh, Wendy, I don't know if you got to look at some of the previous recordings. We do this pretty nonchalantly, in that I know that tied into what you're going to be talking about, and again, we have commonality because you had talked about some of the autoimmune things, fibromyalgia
Mhm.
in particular. My sister uh, had it, well, when they weren't diagnosing it,
Mm.
and that for the longest time, doctors thought it was made up, and that you weren't really having all the pain. And I would do something with her. We'd get on a Zoom call, and it was my kid's sister. And then I'd talk to her 2 days later, and it's like she had gained 80 pounds, and that because her whole body would swell, and she could not get out of her chair. She slept in a lazy boy chair because laying prone was somehow would affect her health even more. She could not, sleep in a bed. And uh, what I understand, there's, there's, for the longest time, they said there was no cure, it wasn't even real. They would, give you pain medication and try to deal with it that way. But for her, a lot of it was tied into um, eating proper and dealing, with her diet. But for a couple years now, she's been in pretty good shape. But I think that people are going to like to hear what you're talking about, with your company, Divine Creator, and your five pillars. Reading a little bit of your bio. I was really impressed by what you had to say, and I don't know if you noticed. Um, you had some very positive comments on LinkedIn when the announcement went out, from a couple people that are big podcasters. I'm going to have to share some of those names with you in case you can't find them, so that you can start a conversation. But I'm going to turn this over to you. I'll let additional people in. We'll ask questions towards the end of it. You can put it in the chat, everybody, and we'll go from there. Wendy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mac. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here and just listening and learning at the same time with from everyone here. Yeah, today I'm, excited about sharing some information of my journey, learning about fibromyalgia, learning from it and about it. And interestingly, I like to agree, like, first of all, I agree with what Mac was saying earlier that fibromyalgia was something that some of the doctor nowadays are still saying you imagine it because you can't really pinpoint what is the real cause behind it. Now, interestingly, there is also research around fibromyalgia recently show up and saying that over 80% of people that suffer from fibromyalgia actually have some kind of trauma that they have experienced and trigger the fibromyalgia. I mean, 80% is quite significant, and it actually pinpoint to childhood trauma. Now, coincidentally, I agree with it 100% from my personal experience. Um, I had a childhood trauma that I experienced when I was a teenager. And fibromyalgia was diagnosed when I was around 30. And at that time, the doctor told me there is no cure for it. You have to take muscle relaxant, painkiller, and learn to manage the symptoms. Antidepressant was prescribed. Fortunately or unfortunately, I the medication didn't do anything for me. And I have to look for other solutions. So what I end up doing was taking a very different route that I never imagined I could do because I was eating like everyone else. I was doing what everyone else was doing. And then all of a sudden, I realized I have to change if I do not want to have pain for the rest of my life. So that journey took me to changing my food choices. My lifestyle was dramatically overhauled, and I'm grateful. Overhaul my lifestyle. I was led to studying about natural approach healing, like emotional um, energy. And through that learning, I recognized one thing. I wasn't listening to my body when my body was communicating with me. I was constantly silencing the voice that has been communicating with me. And fast forward through all the changes and listening to my body and really overhaul everything. Um, I'm fibromyalgia free, has been pain free for 20 some years. Very happy to say that. And one thing it taught me is it is not about looking at the symptom. It is about looking at what is running underneath us that created the symptoms because the body talks to us all the time. Are we listening or are we overriding? And one of the things that end up creating the result for me was looking at all aspects of how I act, interact, react. And that's came about the birth of Vivare. Vivare method is something that I put together as a result of walking through my own personal experience and also supporting others through their journey. And Vivere is Vivere, and V stands for view, which is to look at what is happening, what is the pattern, what is underneath the symptoms. I stands for invigorate. What it means is we have to energize our body through food, lifestyle choices, and all that. And then another V is void. That is a big part. That's the part where you look at your past trauma. And since science has told us that 80 plus percent of fibromyalgia condition was the result of childhood trauma, we may want to look at emotional imprints and experience that we had that traumatize us. It doesn't have to be going to war or anything to have trauma. So looking that to clear it. And then the next E is express. That's a big one for me. It's about conscious language. How are you talking to yourself? How are you talking to others? How are you expressing yourself on a day-to-day basis? Or do you don't allow yourself to express? And then the R is just as important. Regulate. Regulate your nervous system. And I'm going to really dive into a nervous system in a little bit. And then the last word is embody. We have to embody the you that is evolving. It's not just, oh, I got information, listened to a talk, oh, I read a book. Yes, those are information that you might got and retain for a week, a month, and then what? Embodiment is really about putting that all together and really embracing it and living it, a little bit at a time. Over time, you become that information. To know something is just on the surface level. To do something is consciously thinking about it and making a choice to do it. That is still two levels on the surface. Embodiment is being that, is already integrated in you that you don't have to think about it. You naturally do that. So when you watch a person and that person naturally giving you that, whatever that they're teaching you, then you can see that person is embodying it and not regurgitating knowledge. Living is different than doing. And the word vivere is chosen deliberately because vivere means to live. And with running all these different, looking at all these structures, the pillars, you would be able to live life consciously, full of energy, in alignment of who you are. You don't have to afraid of or being influenced by your past experience. And then perhaps you can create a legacy in your life and in your business. So I personally have gone through the journey of fibromyalgia. I also have gone through walking away from a very successful career when my body was telling me that it's no longer in alignment. And I find that I was getting up every morning, pushing through the day. And the mind tells you, no, the job is good, you're doing well, why would you walk away? The mind is designed to protect you. So the mind will always tell you, don't make a false move or don't make a move, whatever. So the process taught me to look at it as like, hey, just because there is a fear of change doesn't mean stop, don't do it. So what I end up doing is applying the void and look at it and say, hey, what was the experience that I had that create this fear, knowing that this doesn't work for me anymore? And I stay there and tell myself, push harder, push harder. You can do it. That's dedication. That's loyalty. The company is so good for you, has been so good to you. Looking at that, applying that, I was able to clear that and recognize, hey, I can have both. I can have security and I can have something that is in alignment of with who I have become or who I am becoming. I can have both. I don't have to have either or. So that's applying vivere. And then the last one, this is the life-changing experience that I recently had. Only 2.5 years ago, I have a loss, a personal loss. And the situation forced me to look at, well, or I should say, a better word is invite me to look at what I've been avoiding. Like I've been looking and not looking because it was my childhood trauma, and I've been carrying that for 40 some years. And when I finally look at it, I recognize that I have not fully lived my life to my potential because I have always been living under the shadow of the trauma, the message that was given to me from the trauma. So every decision, every choice, everything that I do or allow myself to do is still working under the influence of my trauma. And by doing that work, I actually allow myself, give myself permission to close the book. It's not the chapter. I actually closed the book and said, you know what? I've been writing all these stories, filling up all the chapters. It's still under the influence. This story is finished. Put it away. I'm starting a new book. So now every day I'm making conscious choices, not making choices. Now here's the key. Our brain is our protector. Our nervous system is our grand central communicator. Okay? So this talk, this respond, send signal out. Very simple. Both of them are doing their job. Now, when my mind tells me don't do it, the purpose is to protect me. However, where is it referencing? Anyone? It's referencing from your past data because our brain is a computer. It cannot give you something outside of what is in the data bank. So, guess what we were doing if we do not check in with ourselves? We are creating our future from the past. We are only the only thing we are changing is the faces and the places. The story is the same because we are referencing the same limitation, referencing the same beliefs. So, as an entrepreneur, what does that mean to you? Like, how does it relate? Let's say I never have any trauma. I have loving parents and good education. Why is it that my business doesn't seem to be moving to where I am seeing over there? Why is it that I'm looping? Well, here's the thing. Our beliefs started from age 0. Even though you think I'm an infant, what do I know? Majority, if not all of the beliefs that you have came from age 0 to 7. Why? Because at that time, our logical brain is not fully developed. It's not developed yet. So we have a brain that is pure, unfiltered. And everything that we observe, everything that we hear, everything that we were told is absorbed in as truths to us and for us. So, what do we do from 8 onward? We start collecting evidence to prove that what was taught to me from 0 to 7 is true. Money doesn't grow from trees. You have to work hard for money, and so on and so on. Girls don't do that. Oh, you don't say that. So on and on and on and on. Well, when you have that belief, I'll give you a practical example. A client of mine came to me. She's brilliant. She's smart. She delivers good services. And one day we were chatting, And during our time together, she mentioned like, Wendy, I'm very tired these days and I work harder than before and I don't understand it. All my potential clients that I presented to that I thought I was going to get end up going to someone else who has less experience than I have, who charge even more than I charge. What's going on? I'm working so much more, so much harder, and they keep going to someone else. So when we were in the session, we dig deeper. And what we uncover was somehow, somewhere, she had a belief that she just doesn't deserve to get the good. And she has to work so much harder and better. Her mother was telling her, comparing her. So it's like, you see, that's her way of motivating her daughter. Let me compare you so you see so and so is getting this, you can do it too. However, what happened was it ended up creating a belief in the child that I have to do so much more in order to be equal to that other person. So every sales proposal that you put out, every sales conversation you put out, every presentation, you carry that energy with you. And here's another scientific fact. We actually sense energy before our words come out. People feel your energy instantly, and then they make a judgment about you, okay, or decision, whatever. And from there, they make choices. So if you have that energy of someone, oh, I have to do 10 times better in order to be accepted. Well, that energy is sending to that person. The person says, well, I'm not sure. She doesn't seem confident to me. I'm better off with another person who might be less experienced, but and at the same time, like completely passionate and believe her stuff is the best. They'll buy from her without thoughts and pay for it happily. So the key here is really identifying the pattern that is driving your behavior. And as an entrepreneur or high achievers, we, I don't know about you, I love learning. I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly modifying, I'm constantly improving, always creating new. That's just how we do things. Well, if you start do one thing, which is to look at the relationship you have with yourself. Because most of the time we are too busy. We don't spend the time to self-reflect. And when you keep doing, and you don't recognize what is the driving force underneath that, you could be expending a lot of energy and effort and getting very little result because there is a conflicting message that is running underneath. And if you're looking for health, then there is other aspects of it that you have to look at to work together to support so that, like, we have all heard it. People try supplement and then say, well, so and so get this well and it's good, they work. Well, how come I got the supplement? I'm taking 12 supplements a day. My body is still the same. Oh, I go for physiotherapy, I go for this and that. Why am I still in pain? I felt better. After 2 days, I went back to pain again. Well, I changed my diet. I turned vegan. I turned vegetarian. Well, why is it that I'm still like not where I'm supposed to be. Well, we are not just surface layer, we are very sophisticated. There's all part of us. And one of the things that we talk about just now, there's this brain part, there's this control center, your nervous system. Everything we do, our thoughts, our words, our diet, our action, the trauma, the emotion, every part of it are sending signal to the nervous system. The nervous system control not how you feel only. It also control every single organ performance in your body. So when your nervous system is triggered, it will send alarm bell to you. And the alarm bell could be the form of, oh my gosh, I woke up, my neck is so tight. It could be simple as, oh my gosh, my shoulder. Or last night I sleep really bad, or I have digestive system challenge. All those are the nervous system sending signal telling you something is off. And when you look at everything together, working together, it addresses you to set free of your mind so that you don't keep repeating those thoughts that sabotage your creativity and actually give room for you to have more creativity. When you address it, it will allow your nervous system to calm down, which by the way, if your nervous system keep going into overdrive, what will happen is not just aches and pain, it could be total burnout. And if you still continue to ignore that and say, hey, let's push further, over time, it will create inflammation. And inflammation in the body is the result of majority of the disease, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, you name it. Those are the result that we create because we keep pushing and ignoring what is underneath. Vivere is the system that allows you to look at everything together so that your body is being addressed holistically. And that can apply to your health, your mind, your wealth, anything and everything, because now you're working together with your body instead of against your body. And you, because you are changing every day. And you take care of your car and do oil change. When was the last time you do oil change for yourself, for your body? And that's what it's all about. It's looking at the real cause and doing oil change because you're not the 7-year-old anymore. Certain beliefs and thoughts and patterns doesn't serve you anymore, and yet they are impacting your life. So that's my presentation for today. Thank you so much.
I got questions. I'm
Yes,
sure
please.
there may be some other ones. I hear a lot of people talking about the nervous system, and the little that most of us know is that you stub your toe and it goes up and it actually hurts in your butt. Uh, how do somebody analyze, to sound somewhat scientific, how do we analyze what that pain point is? Is it because we stubbed our toe and the toe's connected to the ankle's connected to the leg, and it's just traveling along the nervous system? Within your education, Wendy, how do you identify what somebody
was the
stubbed their
trigger.
toe. Yeah, yeah.
So, yes, nervous system is the grand central messenger for everything. And that's just receiving the signal and then interpret it and send that message out to you. So it's no difference than your alarm system where when the smoke goes in, then it interprets, oh, this is smoky now. Now let me signal the alarm. So it's the same way of that. Now, what create the smoke may not, like you said, so straightforward as I stubbed my toe, and therefore, to me, I believe it is the one that we have to discover what is underneath. What are the recent experience that you have? Because our body works with us and it tries to tell us, send a signal so that we can investigate. I always use this example. Every day you sleep on the same pillow. Most people don't change their pillow every day. Why is it that last night you woke up, I mean, this morning you woke up, you say, last night I slept bad and is wrong and my pillow. What does that has to do with that when the day before is the same pillow and the day before is the same pillow? So I really, personally, I believe we take certain action that is unconscious to us that end up creating the result for us so that we can investigate what is off track. Give you an example. This is real, and I'm gonna share, like, you have to embarrass yourself sometimes. So this morning I was walking my dogs, and for whatever reason, I have a neighbor down the street. Her daughter, I guess, is not always listening to the parents or something. She screamed all the time, and she would scream for a long time and on and on and on and on. It happened today, and she was banging on the door. I guess her father's closed the door on her. So she was banging on the door, was screaming and everything. And I stood there, I'm like, oh gosh, another episode. And then, seriously, I don't know what happened there. She was yelling at her mother when her mother finally came out with her to pick her up, and she got in the car and she started yelling again. I don't know what happened with me. I just came out and say, stop yelling every morning. When I said that, I'm like, oops. Like, what did I just do? Seriously. I was walking my dog. My dog was doing their business. I was standing there. I was talking to my head, and out of my mouth, it came out. Well, okay. So, long story short, I walk away and then I go, oh, wow, Wendy, that's a sign. Today you're agitated. Something is happening. And that's when I came home. I do a little bit of breathing, I do a little bit of things. And tonight I'm going to do some investigation because every little thing actually tells you something. Like, I couldn't explain to you, honestly. I literally is like, did I just say that out loud? So I would say nervous system is the result. And when you work with a practitioner, the practitioner will be able to draw some more information from you to help you identify what is underneath there, which mostly likely are from the past. It has nothing to do with that girl yelling because she has yelled many days and it didn't bother me, although I would prefer her not to yell, so that's what I would answer this way for you, Mac.
And I think all of us can relate to that. For those of us that are here uh, live, and the people that are going to watch it, on the YouTube channels, how do we identify the issue? It sounds like you're taking a thing, and probably because you're a lot more prim and proper than I am. I don't know that I would have been that nice. I would have said a few expletives in that, because I know that they're not going to shoot me and throw me bloody in the street. Um, but how do we, if we recognize that there's an issue, something that we don't like about ourselves, our behavior, how we're doing, we're in pain, all these things I think get put together. Do you, through your educational process, have a way of identification? If I talk to Julia about her VA services and say, listen, what I need people to do the work, but I need to be with the same person. I can't be with Susie today and Dorothy tomorrow and Bob next week because I already told Susie what I wanted. Well, in identifying our stuff, how do we identify these different issues so that we can go seek the help that we need? Is there a pat answer, or is each case different?
Well, I absolutely. So before the identify actually require one thing, which most people may just not realize that they're not doing it. Self-honesty. A lot of people might say, oh yeah, I'm doing this. Oh, well, no, that's so and so, whatever stuff. First, we have to have self-honesty to recognize something is off. If we keep telling ourselves, no, I'm fine, whatever, you will never discover that. That's number one. The willingness to be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell anyone about your challenges or your dirty laundry, whatever. You don't have to. However, you have to be willing to be honest with yourself and really say, no, this is not working. Two, I always say, do not be your own doctor. And I'm saying this not because I'm a practitioner, because there's a difference between being in the forest looking out versus someone outside of the forest navigating you to get out of the forest, get out of the maze. You are in the maze. I always go to someone else because, as much as I've been trained for so many years, knowledge, information I have, I am still in the forest. And the practitioner would be able to see helicopter view so much faster and guide you out of it so much faster. However, it will never happen if the person are not willing to take the first step of being honest with themselves and really feel that something is not working. Fibromyalgia, I did that. I could just keep going and saying, I try another medication, I try another doctor, I try another therapist, I try, and looking outside in healing. Those are outside in, masking and managing the symptoms. What we are talking about, healing, is inside out. So without involving you, it will never happen. Taking medication, everything else is outside in. It doesn't involve you. Even though you're saying taking a supplement, you can buy the most expensive supplement. If you deep down inside feel that you don't deserve it, you're not good enough, or you have some belief, and I don't like this, but, and I have to be very honest, it's like everything happens to us. No, everything happens to us. I'm going to use to us, is for us. is to allow us to be better. So it happened for a reason. And until we are willing to look at that, we are always seeking outside in. And the body will sabotage whatever you take. If you feel that, oh, having aches and pain brings me more attention from my family, how a lot of people may unconsciously have that belief that they didn't even realize. And that's not wrong. It just need a little bit of tweak. And then the supplement will work because now she's say, hey, I want to get ready. I want to get better. Then I can go traveling with my daughter instead of sitting at home, have her visit me. I can now go travel together with her. The motivation is different. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, my head's like going through. I have a personal perspective about victimhood, and that uh, I was in a relationship for a long time, 30 years, and but my first wife, and she thrived on being a victim. She didn't know how to make friends. And I'd go out of town and, I'd tell the story. We'd moved to New Mexico, wanted to start going to a church. And when I was out of town, she wouldn't go.
Mhm.
And that she got some sort of an endorphin rush if people felt sorry for her. And I've always looked at, and you talked about this, hiring the professional, hiring the person like Maggie to make sure that my computer doesn't, blow up on me, or Julia. How do I, take the jobs that somebody else can do, for 30, 40, or $50 an hour, and I can go off and make 300 or $400 an hour. But if I'm doing the 40-hour, $40 job, I'm not making the $500. And so often with victims, before I digress too much, is whether it's a lack of love or something that happened, they don't have that perspective of allowing somebody else to do for them at a fraction of what they could be doing for themselves at the same time.
What you are describing there is, again, the result. So the victimhood is the result of her 0 to 7 training wheels. From 0 to 7, what happened to her? What was said to her? How it was said to her? How she was treated? There's a lot there packed in there that she probably herself forgot about, completely forgot about it. And this is where the practitioner comes in. Because through a regular conversation, it will never happen. And even if it happened, the person may not be able to identify that. And victimhood, nobody likes to be a victim. They were trained to become a victim. And remember what I said earlier? From 8 onward, we start collecting evidence. Oh, this is how I can be safe. This is how I can be not punished. Or this is how I can get attention and love. So that has been ingrained for 20, 30, 40 years because she has been collecting evidence without telling anyone for that matter. So her mind is absolutely convinced. So you can never train a pattern. This is a pattern. What you have identified is a pattern. You can never change a pattern by thinking, by talking to someone. It's just further anchor their belief system. We have to do trauma removal. And that's why Vivare to me is a complete system that supports the person to thrive again, mentally, emotionally, physically.
I guess what I hear you saying is we have to analyze ourselves. What do we like about ourselves? What do we not like about ourselves? Probably more important here, in that you didn't like the fact that you yelled at the kid banging on the door because you're prim and proper, and oh my gosh, you're not going to speak out and give your true feelings. But in that identification process, if we kind of think we know this is what I don't like about me, and that then we would explain this to a professional like you. And I saw that you put your information in the chat. Thank you very much. Um, and would say, hey, I don't like the fact that if somebody challenges me, I get in their face. I'm confrontational and that. And do I say that and then you guide me correctly? I don't like the thing that I don't dress in the three-piece suit and the ties and that, or my hair's too long, it's too short, I'm too heavy, I'm too thin, I'm not, the young bodybuilder that I was 30 or 40 years ago. How do we identify the traits that we don't like? Is that a personal trip?
Well, most of the time, we all know that there are things that we keep repeating. And it's like, oh my gosh, I did it again. And those will be the ones that you decide whether that irritates you enough to say, I'm going to do something about it. Because there are people that live with fibromyalgia for 30, 40 years. And then there are people like me that had 1 year of fibromyalgia pain. And then I start saying, no, 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 let me do something. Now, the pain didn't disappear overnight. However, I was moving forward. I can see the progression. And then eventually it completely disappeared. Same thing here. Anything that is in our business, in our health, our relationship, everything is the result. And I guarantee you, just look at the tree. You have multiple branches coming out. All those little branches are like one of the small branches is like today I yell out of the blue to the little child. But hey, there is a stem that I can trace back that I've done many other little things. Maybe not so openly, or maybe openly, that also came from that. So when you change one thing, you're actually going to change your relationship, you're going to change your health, you're going to change your mental state, you're going to change a lot of things because everything come back to your mind and your nervous system. The two that is controlling you and influencing you on a day-to-day basis. What you have subconsciously, although you think you are very smart here consciously, well, this one here is 1,000 times more powerful computer than this one. So if you get this one to work with you, how much more can you create?
I love it. We're up against the hour. Julia, Maggie, any comments, questions? I would suggest and recommend that those of us that are here and the people that are watching this reach out in that. But any last minute questions before I end this?
I don't have a question. I just think you're amazing. I think what you do is amazing. I see a naturopath every 2 weeks. I work with a transformational coach who's really taught me everything that you talk about and how to find what that was in my past. And once I cleared that, my business exploded. I mean, I opened up. I am speaking now. I'm doing things I never would have done before. So I know exactly what you're talking about, and it is amazing. So, yay.
Thank you. I'm
And
glad that you're doing
probably
that.
when your business was at a different level,
Mhm.
then to spend the money, you had to think about it multiple times. And now you're saying, holy crap, I took on 10 more customers and yeah, and I feel good about myself. That I
Absolutely.
got new ink.
Yes, absolutely. That's what she does. And yeah, it's totally worth it. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up. Wendy, thank you so much. I really don't say this out loud a whole lot of times, but I think that we need to, in the near future, take part two, episode two, and that because most of us don't know how to self-analyze. And, talking about the fibromyalgia, when the doctor is telling you it's imaginary,
Mhm.
you doubt yourself
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
you don't go looking for the cure.
Right.
And if you have the belief, wait a minute, something's going on. It may not be that I got cancer and that, with this problem, maybe I just need to get a regular massage and that
Right.
or something, for something for me. It's like when I get a massage, I say I can't do the 60-minute because I need the 90 minutes so I can sleep for a half hour because then I know the massage is good.
Right.
So ladies, thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate it. We'll get this up, Wendy. I'll send you a copy of the recording. You can use that for yourself. Um, I would love to meet you in person, and well, we're going to have to end up at the same conference somewhere.
At
But
some point, yes. And by the way, I do have a complimentary clarity and alignment session, so feel free to take up on it. Love to chat and connect with every one of you, or have a coffee chat, whichever way works. But definitely the clarity and alignment session is available for all who are watching the video.
I love it. We'll pass on the information if anybody wants to contact me directly. It's in the chat. It'll show up on the YouTube.com Veterans Achieve Business Systems YouTube channel. And thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Julia, we'll see you next week. I'm here if you have any questions.
Yes, definitely. And I will see you Friday as well if you're going Friday night.
Yes, I'll be there Thursday and Friday at the Achieve University.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be Friday night mixer. Yeah.
okay, sounds
All
real
right.
good. We'll talk to
Okay,
you
bye,
soon.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.